All of Us Are Dead is a Korean zombie show on Netflix. I wanted to watch it when it came out, but I got rid of Netflix when it debuted back like March of 2022. And I've always wanted to watch it, so another season's coming, so I want to check it out. I love all things zombie, especially from Korea. And this one is about Hyosan High School. An infection in the science lab leads to an all-out outbreak, trained to Busan style. So an infection point there completely like annihilates the school. It's basically about a bunch of high school students, a few adults like teachers, a couple of like parents of the students trying to survive this sort of zombie apocalypse. Now the first episode is a little bit slow, I'm not gonna lie. The first episode is basically just an introduction of all the different characters. It kind of feels like you're watching a drama film because there's just a lot of characters. You know, there's like a bullied girl and her friend. There's the core group of like two guy friends. You know, one's the goofy sidekick, one's the sort of main character, Cheong-sang, and then you got this girl that likes him. She's sort of a childhood friend. He treats her like a kid sister. And then there's Isaac. She's like the best friend of In-soo. And then there's like a hunkier sort of tall, athletic guy named Soo-hyuk, and then there's teachers, all sorts of characters introduced in the first episode, and you're kind of sitting there waiting for the zombie action. But the movie, I mean, the series does start with some grim bullying, and it's definitely something that it rings true with Korean culture, and a mysterious science teacher who's like the one behind this virus. And but you know, finally the outbreak happens at the end of episode 1, and you're finally getting some zombie action. It does leave on a big cliffhanger though to keep you watching. I didn't like that because, you know, you can tell the model of the show is going to be try to keep you going as much as possible. But I don't mind a cliffhanger at the beginning of a series to keep you hooked. But if they still give you this by episodes like 5 and 6, like they do in Sweet Home, I'm going to be angry because sometimes I can't watch more than 1 or 2 episodes a night. I'm very busy. So episode 2 is basically a little bit more backstory on the virus and the person who made it. Introduction of some more adult characters like teachers, the principal. More students are introduced. It's definitely an ensemble cast. And it's sort of like a really great artistry. Talking about the tracking shots. There's so many oneers in this. Really stylish stuff that sort of immerses you in the chaos and the biting and the frantic sort of camera work. Doesn't go shaky cam. I love that. They're doing some experimental stuff in episode 3 too with the snora cam. But episode 2 has a lot of brutal zombie action, big scope, lots of stuff going on, sort of whittling down the characters into like a core group and then chipping away at them slowly. You know, perilous set pieces, you know, more character. I'm glad they don't do like long flashbacks of all these different characters. I wouldn't want that. You know, I don't need that. Give me the zombie stuff. We know who they are. It's more of a survival story. Episode 3 is more of the same. I think episode 2 ends on a cliffhanger as well, so it's kind of annoying. But episode 3 basically introduces a sort of, I don't know about like sides, people like picking on each other, inner conflict. You know, lots of raising up the drama in the middle of a tense situation. And obviously in real life, most people wouldn't, you know, nip at each other like that, but it adds a little bit of conflict because it's not just, oh, we got to survive against the zombies. We got to fight against infighting and treachery, and all sorts of great themes are introduced in that 3rd episode. And then the snora cam experimentation. There's also a couple nameless characters that are just sort of introduced, such as a young woman running around a park. And we don't really get an introduction. She's just sort of there, I guess, as a bridge between seeing police infected and seeing like the infection spread throughout, like not just the school, but like through the ground level around the school, and as the city's sort of starting to like just sort of, what's the word, decay. And then there's also like a police riot scene where they're trying to like contain the infection, but they can't. So a lot of great budget used in the 3rd episode. So that's where I am, and that's where we'll leave off before I watch more. Episode 3 of the show has something I haven't seen before in a zombie story or movie or series. I came up with something similar too, not exactly, but similar for my own zombie stories, so I never got to use that, so it's nice to see that. But this show is firing on all cylinders. Like, there's an amazing chase scene in episode 4. Some of the action set pieces rival anything in a movie or Walking Dead or any other show, which is really great. I found out that like the director, he hired like lesser known actors for all the teenagers. They do their own stunts. All the zombie actors are doing a really great job with their stunts when they like run and they slam into things, and you know, the zombies themselves have no, you know, fear of like falling out of a building, so they're very reckless. They crash into stuff. Really great stunt work and set pieces. They filmed most of this at an all-girls school, but then they built an extra set so they can tear down stuff. And the scope of the series really expands as it goes on. You know, after the first couple episodes, it's not just teenagers surviving in a school. They also have a perspective of a detective who arrested the scientist who created the virus. And then there's also the military. There's a congresswoman. There's Anju's father. So there's like 3 or 4 different little perspectives that sort of circle around, and it sort of builds up to a sort of disaster story instead of just a zombie survival story, although there's some stuff in there. And there's also some shocking twists that happen halfway through, which adds another original aspect to the zombie, you know, genre that we haven't seen before. Maybe, you know, it exists in another story, but it was really unique to this story, adding another layer of horror. So I really like that there's a lot of craftsmanship going on in this show, and there's a lot of emotional depth too. I wasn't expecting that because, you know, most people just thought this would be like Train to Busan in a school, but there's a lot of like grief and loss, you know, themes of like morality and you know, society, a little bit of class warfare in there, a little bit of the morality play with the military making big decisions. It's a really, like, really definitely hit me hard because there's a lot of slow moments too where they're just like talking about things, and this series is also equal parts coming of age drama as well as a zombie horror story. So it manages to meld the two together really quite well. And I guess the only thing I didn't like about the series is there's a lot of cliffhangers for every episode. I don't like that because I usually only have enough time to watch 1 or 2 a night. I don't have time to marathon all day, so I don't need cliffhangers after the first couple episodes. I'm going to keep watching. You don't, a little bit of lack of confidence there. And but overall, like, All of Us Are Dead is a really strong piece of zombie fiction. You know, it's on par with Kingdom, in my opinion, and that series might be done. I haven't seen season 3, but this one's very strong. I like the characters. You know, at first you're overwhelmed by how many there are, but then over the time you start to care. They build up the stakes. It's really scary. It's a little bit funny. It's thrilling. It's something we haven't seen before if you love the zombies. So those are my thoughts on All of Us Are Dead season 1, and I'm excited for season 2.